morning and welcome to today's episode of The Sports Break on RVNTV.tv. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and joining me today, Kwame Fisher-Jones, to help break down the AFC East division. So starting off, let's talk about actually the worst team in the division, the New York Jets.
Football, bro.
We're just gonna get them over with. So, are they going to be any better this season, or do you think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL overall?
That's a good question. I don't know if they'll be the worst because the Eagles still play football. Oh. But yeah, I'd start out early. Took that dig early. They're going to be horrific. But you know what? Usually when people think teams are going to be that bad, they tend to somehow pull it together and not be deplorable. So they might be catastrophic, but not deplorable.
They had a lot of changes in the offseason.
Yeah, but their defense should be solid. They've invested a lot in their defense. They've kind of gone to a youth movement that they just don't play to score. They just play to have fun. So let's see how it turns out. They still have a horrible offense. I've never bought into Todd Bowles and the propaganda that told me he was going to be a black coach. I think it was more of a desirous thing for him to be a successful black coach. So, you know, we'll see how it turns out. But to answer your question specifically, I don't know if they'll be the worst, but they'll be in the picture. Like, they may not be holding the, the second grade picture, but they'll be in the front row smiling with the missing teeth.
They'll be battling for the bottom. Yeah. Okay, I could tend to agree with that.
I'm trying to get my posture.
I don't.
The Jets make you instantly uncomfortable.
Yeah, the Jets make you want to slump. So let's go into another team that hasn't made the playoffs since 1999 when I was like 6 or 7 years old. The Buffalo Bills. That's how long it's been.
That's a dig. I haven't shaved, the grays are out, and you took that dig. As if I didn't feel old enough.
The two struggling teams of the division. So the Buffalo Bills with LaShawn McCoy. He bought them off Philly cheesesteaks at least when they played the Eagles. That's a positive.
Big spender.
Yeah, big spender.
Big spender.
If you guys didn't hear, he bought everyone, the coaches and the players, Philadelphia cheesesteaks when they came to Philly to play the Eagles. So at least they got that out of the deal.
Let me ask you a quick question. I know you want to still, but I got to ask you a question. When you think of Philly, do you always think of cheesesteaks?
It's so funny you say this because I was literally just having this conversation with someone.
Thank you. I think of smokers and garlic knots. That's what I think of when I think of Philly. I think of people, you go, wherever you go, somebody's going to be smoky. No matter where you go to eat, there's always going to be garlic knots. I don't think instantly, like I would even think like a Philly pretzel.
Yeah.
Or scrapple. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't really think cheesesteaks. I'm sorry.
It's really funny you said that because when I heard LaShawn McCoy bought everybody cheesesteaks, I was having this conversation with someone. Like, people come to Philly and like, oh, I have to have a cheesesteak. But yes, our cheesesteaks are good in Philly, but they're not.
If you go to the hole in the wall spots, they're good. But when you go to like Geno's or Pat's
I don't like them at
Jim's, no, it's like getting. It's just it doesn't pop. It's like getting a cheesesteak from a restaurant or something, like one of those fancy restaurants. Friday, not fancy like Fridays is fancy, but you know what I mean.
Yes,
you see what I'm saying. I completely took you off track. I apologize, but. Yeah, I don't understand that. It seems like the commercial, the trendy thing to do.
It's now the home of the cheesesteaks. And the city of brotherly love, to me, it does not equal cheesesteaks.
No. I like I said, I think soft pretzel, I think garlic knots, But when you go to Boston, I don't know if you've ever been in like Boston, New England area, one of the best foods that they offer is not the clam chowder, it's pizza. Their pizza is better than
Not the New England clam chowder.
Don't laugh at me. That was just meant to laugh. Yeah, I'm serious. The pizza in Boston is amazing.
I have heard that.
Amazing. See, I'm not that crazy. New York.
I pay attention to food. So food, I'm.
So that's what you're telling us. You've been peddling that for months. We're gonna see. We're gonna start feeding you tailgate shows and stuff. But the food in Boston, the pizza, I'm not. It's really good though. It's like roll your eyes in the back of your head good, and it's cheap and it's big slices. Like New York, I
love New York pizza.
I don't know.
Places.
I am hesitant to eat anywhere in New York because there's rats everywhere. Like the rats are as big as toddlers. The rats are as big as Floyd Mayweather. Somebody said that the other day. I was cracking up. It was so true. Floyd's a midget. But the rats are huge.
This
so
weekend.
I completely took you off. Go ahead. Your question. I'm sorry.
I don't remember now. I'm talking about food. You know what? Okay, one last point to food. Food is good when you get done eating. You're just tired. You just want to sit back. You just feel like you just ran or something. Like it just hits you. You got the itis. Some of y'all don't know what that is. And
everybody knows the itis is that point. I've had.
If you eat and you have energy and want to keep moving, the food was not good enough. When I eat and I get tired, then I know it was
That's
good.
a good point. You know, when you can't remember what it's called, but you can
so
describe it. Yeah, when you can describe it. The thing I had that had the sauce and the cheese, and when I picked it up and then somebody tried to take something, I stabbed their hand, like I'm sharing is not caring, that's when you know it's good. I don't know if I roll back because you should never eat too much. Like, you know, you're a petite, you know, for those of us that carry weight, we try not to eat that much because then you got to loosen up your pants and it's never a good sight when you get up. You don't. It's never a good sight when you get up. But when you can't remember what it was, that's when you know it's good. You can remember. You can describe it perfect, like the plate it was on, how it smelled.
You gotta get rolled out.
Yeah, you get that little right there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, on here.
Yeah, but
all right.
Come
back to the Bills.
Ruined your show. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. People like talking about food, so
they do.
That's
they
all
do.
good.
They do.
We were talking about LaShawn McCoy and the Buffalo Bills. So, do they have the receivers? Do they have? I mean, they don't have a franchise quarterback per se. Do they have the ability to make 500 teams?
Nope. As long as Tyrod Taylor's a quarterback, as long as Jordan Matthews, and it's funny, I thought the Eagles should have kept Jordan Matthews, but
yeah,
moving along, you know,
I
don't like the Sean McDermott coach hire. I'm not sold in anything that they have going on as an organization as far as structure, and you could throw the Miami Dolphins in there, Tannehill. You know, when you start letting and I hate this phrase, but when you start letting the inmates run the asylum, then you start, you know, and when you hear a guy didn't rehab properly from an injury, that's a personal thing. That's a guy that really doesn't give a F about your organization, doesn't give two diddly poops about his team. So, no, I don't think Miami's going to turn the corner. And as far as the Bills are concerned, it's a shame because they've got the talented pieces, but they don't have the proper direction. And you watch them when they had the preseason game against the Eagles, they looked lost. Yeah. At times, you know, they've got all this speed. It's like they're the poster child for what a football team should look like. But they're also the walking epitome of looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. And so, you know, they traded Sammy Watkins. When you start trading first-round picks within their rookie contracts, then that's an indictment on your scouting, your general managing, and your coaching. And that usually is also spells disaster. So, yeah, it's when disaster strikes for the Bills. So, essentially, your next question is going to be about the Patriots. They'll probably roll again. I was
going to ask about the Dolphins and get them out the way. But you kind of talked about them, too. There's not much there. I mean, they had a better season last year, but do you think they're going to be a wild card potential team this year?
If they sign Kaepernick, I think they've got a chance.
Okay.
And not to kind of belabor that point, but they need a playmaker.
Yeah.
And as much as Colin is more athlete than quarterback, they can get a playmaker there. They've got some guys on the outside, and Landry and the other wide receiver escapes me, but you know they've had speed and they can. The home field advantage helps them. It's the walls are sweating in like December in Miami. So you know you come down from New York or Buffalo or New England, you know,
snowing.
Yeah, and then you go down there and you can't breathe, and then they got all the distractions that is Miami. It would work for them if they can get a special playmaker out there because they've got a solid defense. They've got a solid. They've got the speed on the skills positions. Landry's a top 15, arguably top 10 receiver in the league. They've got a chance, but Tannehill's not the answer. When you don't believe in your captain, you're not going to get on the ship. You know, so that if they can square that away, but how much success can you have bringing a dude off the street?
Right.
You know, good Lord, yeah.
And being in the division with the Patriots, so.
This
should just be the Patriots division. It shouldn't even be the AFC East. Real quick before we break, we'll continue talking about them a little bit after the break. But long story short, are they going to win the division again this year?
Yeah, they should. The Patriots should roll probably another 13, 14 win season. You know, even if Tommy Terrific goes down, they should still win the AFC.
Tommy Terrific.
You don't like Tom Brady?
I do.
Tommy Terrific. I'm a Tom Brady guy. He's a little bit of a special.
I'm a fan.
When we go on camera, I'll tell you some stories about Tommy T. That he go, really? He's like that? Yeah, he's a really bit of a special dude, and not special in a nice way. But the Patriots should roll again.
Yeah, on paper, it's looking like they could have one of their best teams that they've had in years.
Adding Brandon Cooks is huge. You know, even if Gronk plays his habitual 7 games a year because he's usually hurt or partying too hard. You know, some players look like they come to practice hungover. Gronk's just got that look, like he's a functioning,
he's a great player,
hungover. And it's funny when Gronk does what he does, it's just Gronk being Gronk. But if another player does that, like if it's Chad Ochocinco or players like that, you know, they're a distraction to the team. But going back to Miss Washington's question, wrapping that all up in a bow, yes, the Patriots should roll. And it'll be a good thing because it's great to see the stars playing in the highest on the highest stage of the brightest lights, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, they are still a team that can get back to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If anybody that can do it back-to-back years again, right now, with the way that the league is, it's them. I think they're that team that we can see.
Agree.
I don't know if they win it again, but it all depends on how other teams actually step up to play. So, we got to talk about food. So it's always a good start to the show when we talk about food. Yeah, I was like burping on my breakfast a little bit, getting excited talking about food. We do have to take a quick break, classy, I know. We do have to take a quick break. When we come back, we will get into the NFC East, so don't go too far.
Didn't know, couldn't see what was around the corner from me. Check me out, my legs are moving. Hands real smooth, gotta keep it moving. Take it fast, take it slow. Sing it all day, come on, let's go. Can't get enough of these crazy moves. Slide on by, now that's real smooth. Throw your hands up in the air. Bounce on down, down your hair. You stop, now that's real nice. Come on, get loose. Come on.
La Esperanza Mexican Restaurant and Bar, the best authentic Mexican restaurant in South Jersey. Your friends and family will enjoy the fun and the food, like our staple guacamole, tamales, and ceviche. Our weekday lunch special is just $7.99. We also offer Saturday and Sunday brunch. Enjoy the largest selection of tequilas in South Jersey, Mexican beers, bottle and draft beers, fresh margaritas, and daily beer and margarita specials. La Esperanza Mexican Restaurant and Bar, family owned and operated since 2002.
Hi, I'm Becky.
And I'm Eric.
And this is Cooked and Uncorked.
It is.
It is. And you can check us out Mondays at 10:30.
10:30 every Monday.
See you there.
Got a quarter?
Hi, I'm Jim Cucinato. I'm inviting you to watch my show on the Halo Health Network on RBN. We cover everything you always wanted to know about health but was afraid to ask. We have interesting guests who can help you how to live healthier, how you can be smarter about your health, how you can help your family live healthier and be healthier. We are on Tuesdays from 9:30 Eastern Time to 10 o'clock. Please come and watch us.
If you have a story or product that you'd like to share with our viewers as a guest on the Morning Coffee Show, please contact us at info@radiovisionnetwork.com.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Welcome back to the Sports Break. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and Kwame Fisher-Jones has changed. He's now in a blue suit and has Now we did not have Kwame anymore. Now joining us is Jonathan Stroud.
We made
it's
him
like
look
magic.
better.
All right, so we actually just talked about the AFC East. We're going to just skip over the short stuff, you know, the Jets, the Bills, all them. Go straight to the Patriots. And I'm going to ask you, since we got Kwame's opinion, what do you think is going to happen with the Patriots this year? Are they going to, well, the division is theirs. Done. Are they going to be a team that can make it back to the Super Bowl?
Well, I hope they don't. You know, the evil empire known as the Patriots. But on paper, they have as much talent, I think, as they had during the Randy Moss days when they did go 16-0. Tom Brady, he's 40 years old, but he still looks like he can sling that rock around. So, when you have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, you're pretty much guaranteed for success. I mean, people are predicting them to go 16-0 this year.
Yeah.
And I don't see that happening at all. I mean, it's the NFL. You got the attrition and ebbs and flows of the season. But with that division, I mean, I think it's the worst in football.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a lot of layups there as far as division wins. So I think they're going to go 8-0 in the division.
Okay.
But I don't see them going 16-0. But as far as the Super Bowl, I don't see anybody challenging them except for maybe the Steelers or the Raiders in the division. So it pains me to say it, but I think we're probably looking for another title run from the Patriots. So
yes. Now, ironically, you said on paper this looks like the best team because for those of you that don't know, he was not in here when I said that, but I said the exact same thing.
Oh.
On paper, this is looking like the best Patriots team you've seen in like the last 10 years.
Right.
So, yes, they look like they have the potential to do it. But they also have a very tough end to their season. The final 6 games, I think it is, they're away, like 5 of them. And they're playing Pittsburgh, they're playing they're in Denver, which is it's always tough to go play in Denver.
It is.
And they have a tough second half of their season. Do you think that will play a role into?
I think it will. I mean, because when you're away from home, I mean, it's always going to be a little bit tougher. And you know, as the season goes on, you get into the colder months now. So I think that stretch is going to definitely, you know, hinder their progress from trying to go 16-0, as a lot of experts are trying to predict. But I mean, Tom Brady, I think it's the amount of weapons he has right now between Edelman and Gronk. I mean, people don't even think about Gronk didn't even play in the Super Bowl.
Right. So
now you're adding Gronk, you're adding Brandon Cooks. I mean, the running backs that they have there, and then, you know, Bill Belichick, the wizard behind the board. He's just, you know, I mean, this is one of those teams you never. When's the last time you seen the Patriots get 12 men on the field penalty? I mean, they're
so organized.
They're a well-oiled machine, and I just think that, you know, again, they're going to be in for another one of those runs. But like you said, as far as that back end of the schedule, I think it will be a little tough. But this division, man, it disappoints me that, you know, within the Patriots are going for their 9th division crown. So nobody in this division has stepped up to even challenge these guys to compete and you know, try to get the AFC East away from them. So yeah, I think the Patriots, evil empire, they're going for another run.
Yeah, and I think that their Super Bowl win is kind of the epitome of what the Patriots are. So they're like, if you're ever the older sibling playing like a younger sibling, and you know you can beat them, but you let them have their chance, you let them feel like they're going to win, and then all of a sudden you're just like, all right, done, take it over, score, whatever, game over. That to me is what the Patriots are. They have the ability to put together a full game, every game, and other teams are just trying to hang on like the younger sibling trying to keep up, and you can't hang with them for an entire
and they'll
game.
run up the score on you easily if they want to. You know, Belichick, he's been known to do that. So
oh yeah,
Big Brother is definitely. You're right on that one.
So while we're talking about the evil Patriots, let's go into the NFC East and talk about the evil Dallas Cowgirls. I mean, Cowboys.
You said it right the first time. You said it right.
So for us Eagles fans especially, the Cowboys/Cowgirls have been having a very troubled offseason, I guess you can say, with everything with Zeke, who is in the process of appealing his 6-game suspension. So if he doesn't get that appeal, which I don't think it's fully going to get overturned, I think he's going to be suspended for at least a couple games. Now that's more on Dak. You don't have your running back. You now have to throw the ball more. You know, that's a lot more pressure on him. Can he step up and fill that void while Zeke is out?
I just want to do this because Cowboys fans are not going to see this for the first 6 weeks. So I'm just going to do that for you. But no, I think he will at least do 4 games, Zeke. And Dak, I mean, you know, he caught lightning in a bottle last year as far as the squad going 13-3. I mean, I think he is an NFL quarterback. I don't think that he's, you know, as great as maybe he showed last year. Maybe he's going to run into a little bit of that sophomore slump this year, especially when you don't have that workhorse Zeke to lean on for the first how many games it's going to be. So I think the Cowboys are going to take a step back this year. And that's not just my heart talking. I just think that, you know, when everything aligned for them like it did last year, it's really hard to repeat that type of success in the NFL because, you know, as you know, the ebbs and flows of the season. So I see them taking a step back. I see Dak maybe, you know, taking a step a little bit back without having that workhorse Zeke to lean on. So it's going to be interesting to see as far as the appeal and how that process goes. Everybody's credibility is a little bit up in the air on this one, even including the commissioner. So
yeah, and the hard thing is you're not the Cowboys competing in a division like the AFC East or some of these other divisions we've talked about in previous shows. You're in the most competitive division in the league. I mean, between the Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles, you have teams that are all at least competitive game in and game out. You don't have the Jets, you don't have the Bears, you don't have these rollover teams. So to be the Cowboys in this division with this situation that they're in right now, with Zeke, I mean, that makes it even tougher. You're now, the stakes are higher.
It is. I mean, the NFC East, I think, and like you said, it is the most competitive division. I think it's going to be the strongest division in the NFL this year. Most of the games are decided by 3 points or less in this division. So, and nobody's even talking about the Deadskins. I mean, they're just one of those teams that the folks just roll over. But they're still, they still have some weapons. They're still a strong team, solid. Going to give each team a strong running.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be, these games are going to be some knockout, drag-out blows, I think, as far as the NFC East is concerned. So, I think maybe 10-6 is probably going to win this division because it's just going to be one of those a battle each time these teams play.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we will continue talking about the final 3 teams in the division when we get back from this break. Of course, the Eagles. So don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Didn't know, couldn't see what was around the corner from me. Let's go. Check me out, my legs are moving. Hands real smooth, gotta keep it moving. Take it fast, take it slow. Sing it all day, come on, let's go. Can't get enough of these crazy moves. Slide on by, now that's so smooth. Throw your hands up in the air. Bounce on down, down your hair. You stop, now that's real nice. Come on, get loose. Come on. Let's go, 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 go.
And we are back. We are talking about the NFC East. We just got into a little bit about the Cowgirls, blah, blah, blah. But more importantly, we're now moving on to the other teams the Eagles will get to, starting with the Giants.
Yes.
What can we expect from the Giants this year?
Well, I mean, they've added Brandon Marshall to the squad. Shepard is in their second year. We all know about OBB or OBJ, whatever. And so, I mean, I think their offense is still going to be pretty spectacular. Their offensive line is pretty shoddy. People are saying that's probably going to be the weak link out there for them. The running game has still not been solidified. They're going to be starting Paul Perkins this year, but their defense was pretty strong last year. And people say you can't go out and buy a squad. I mean, they pretty much bought their defense. They paid over $200 million for them, and the investment came in pretty good for them. So I think the Giants. A lot of people are picking the Giants to win this division this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm there yet, but that might be the Eagle fan of me talking. But I think the Giants are probably right there between Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles. I don't, it's pretty much a toss-up as far as that's concerned. But I think the Giants, they really upgraded as far as having Brandon Marshall in there. He's going to be a nice red zone target for Eli. But I think it's going to come down to their offensive line for them.
I think it's going to come down to one player, Mr. Odell Beckham Jr.
You think?
I think so. I mean, I think if he can be that high-caliber player all season, stay focused, you do your boats, shenanigans, or whatever else, but make sure that game in and game out he's ready to go, and that he is, playing his hardest and not focus more on other things. I think that they can be a team that wins the division. Well, they were close last year. It's just,
and he did propose the camera microphone last year. So I mean, he's married now. So, but hey, listen, that guy, he's just a loose cannon. We all know that. So I mean, if he can keep his head on straight this year, we'll see. I mean, he's a dynamic talent. There's no doubt about that. So I think you're pretty much right in that assessment. It's going to come down to Odell and what type of mindset he's going to have. Eli, I mean, he just continues to do it, and he's been solid. It pains me to say that, but he's been solid. Throughout his career. So
what do you expect? Switching gears to the Redskins, they match up really well with the Giants, in my opinion. Let's talk about them a little bit. Deshaun Jackson's not there anymore.
Right.
What's going to be going on down in Washington?
Yeah, I mean, they were losing a lot of players left and right between Pierre, Deshaun, but they did, Terrell Pryor, I'm a fan of his. I think that, he was his first year receiver last year, put up great numbers, over 1,000 receiving yards. So he's that big body target that Kirk Cousins is going to throw to. I mean, this guy, Kirk Cousins, they just continue to give him the franchise tag, don't want to extend him. And so he's got to prove it. I got to fight to prove my love every year. So, I mean, that's Kirk Cousins for you, but he continues to show up and show out. So, but I think the Skins, like I said, they're one of those teams under the radar, but all three phases of the football team, they're pretty solid. Like as far as special teams, their defense is pretty strong. With Josh Norman on the back end on the secondary.
OBJ loves.
Yeah, exactly. That's some good knockouts.
That's his best friend.
Yeah. So, and then, I mean, as far as their offensive line, that's pretty solid as well. They got Art Kelly in there, not the singer, but they got Fat Rob in there running the ball for them. So, I think that the Redskins are, it's always those teams that people don't talk about that usually end up doing something. So, I think folks are going to have to watch out for the Redskins and what they're going to do this year.
Yeah, so now, before we wrap up, we have to talk about the EAGLES Eagles. I won't go into the whole fight song, but
I would love to hear
Carson Wentz. I'm just kidding. I won't do that to you guys. Carson Wentz in his second year.
Yes.
I mean, some people are saying he's going to hit that sophomore slump. I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
But him stepping in now, having 1 year under his belt, and they've kind of regrouped this offseason. Do you think the Eagles are going to be finally be the team that doesn't let their fans down?
Well, no, that's never going to happen. I mean, we're just prepared for a letdown every year. I'm not going to, I'm done drinking the Kool-Aid as far as thinking we're going to the Super Bowl every year. But Carson Wentz, from all reports, he's the most dedicated. He's first one in, last one out as far as studying. So the mindset is there for him as far as a quarterback. I'm worried about the run game and what it's been looking like in the preseason.
Okay.
I'm worried about Dougie Not So Fresh as our Peterson as our coach. And he's running these stretch plays with LeGarrette Blount in the preseason, so I don't know if that's just, running vanilla offenses. But I think the Eagles, I mean, that trade with Jordan Matthews, that pretty much solidified their back end, bringing in the corner. So, I mean, of course, that was their weakest link. So I think that, they're pretty much set up to compete for the division and hopefully make a return to the playoffs because, Howie's put everything in place for that to happen.
Okay, so one quick question.
Sure.
Is this going to be the year that Mr. Aguilar can catch, and actually lives up to how he does in practice? I mean, he actually had a whole Twitter page petitioning to get him removed from the Eagles last year.
Oh, my God.
I kind of feel bad for the guy. Is this?
I know. I'm done feeling bad for Aguilar. He done went to psychiatrists and everything else. Like, give me a break. Like, let your play do the talking. You know what I mean? If you're going to have a twin brother who's great in practice, but then we come out and see this guy in the games who still can't catch a ball, like, no, you're first round pick, USC. Everybody said you had the tools. It's time to prove it. So I'm done with all the headlines from Aguilar. It's time for him to go out there and prove it. This guy. I'm just going to pray for him. We're just going to pray.
I feel bad because he, my little brother actually, well, he's not little. My little brother got to meet him and actually got a pair of his gloves signed. Oh, so we had Aguilar's gloves in our house. I think we need to give them back. Is what I'm trying to say.
Is there some sticker on there?
We need to get those gloves. He clearly needs them.
Yeah.
But Eagles. Long story short, please don't let us down this season.
Yes,
get to like 10 wins.
10 wins was the division.
Be competitive, please. So we have actually talked about every single division in the NFL. We've broken down. We've predicted who we think is going to win the divisions. But now we just have to sit back and see what actually happens. Week by week, I'm excited. I can't wait for the end of the
football season. Yes.
It's time. Tailgate. Bring out the wings. Bring out the Philly cheesesteaks. Bring them all out.
Y'all got me hungry already.
Tailgate. Yeah, we're talking about food earlier.
I see.
So, thank you for joining us on the Sports Break. We are here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 a.m. on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, here with Jonathan Stroud, and we'll see you tomorrow.